Welcome to the show. Today I wanted to talk about time hogs. We talked recently about some time management productivity things that you could do in your practice. So today I wanted to talk about this topic that I like to call time hogs. Now, I had this happen recently. I've had it happen many times over the course of my being in practice on my own. And the time hog is the person who schedules that appointment with you. Then they decide that that appointment doesn't work for them, so they reschedule. Now that means they can use, some online appointment software that you're using that you connected to, and they can reschedule it there, or they call the office, or they email you or some staff member to reschedule that on your calendar. Okay, fine, I understand things happen. But then they call and they want to reschedule again and again. And your staff, you, whoever, lets them do that. You need to stop it. Stop doing that. I give the people one grace opportunity. You either get to take that second opportunity or you don't get it at all. Because keep in mind that they're taking away an opportunity cost. And what that means is that when they book the appointment, they're on the schedule, you are meeting with them. If they don't make it for that appointment, most of the time I used to have the attitude, "Oh, well, that's fine. I get to work on other things," and I would just work on, marketing, practice management, tax return, whatever it is I was working on. So I would work on that, and I thought that wasn't a big deal. But then it dawned on me that that person is hogging up that slot that I could be making money with. So if they hog up that slot, that means nobody else is going to take that slot. So then what do? They take up another slot in my calendar some other point in time in the near future. So I just stopped allowing it. You get one grace, one gimme. I mean, there are some things that happen. Like today, this happened to me. I had a client call me and or actually he texted me and said that he had to put down an animal, one of his pets recently, and decided that he wasn't going to be prepared for the appointment. Now, I feel for him. I'm sorry that that happened for him, and but it still hogged up a time, and now I've got to schedule it to another time where I have to find that's going to work in my schedule. Now, I feel for him, but at the same time, you could look at it. Well, he actually had a week before that appointment to get prepared and ready. So that's shame on him. Now, at the same time, I'm going to give him some grace about putting the animal, his pet, down that day. But I've had some people where they've literally had some bad things happen. Okay, fine, I get it. But when they repeatedly happen, then that's not poor planning on my part, it's poor planning on your part. And by me being complicit and letting them do that, they're abusing me. So you need to take control of your practice. You need to stop them from doing that and hogging that opportunity. Now, some additional things to look at and consider nights and weekends. I got burned many times by people coming, trying to schedule. Hey, can you meet with me at 6 o'clock, at 6:30, at on Saturday during tax season? And I used to do that because I would sometimes be in the office on Saturday, or I was going to be in the office late that day. But then inevitably, what happened would be people would not show up. They would be late. So when they're late and I now have this appointment, now that makes me even later. Especially if I was planning on being somewhere, being at home for dinner at a certain time, trying to help coach my daughters in youth sports. I coached soccer for them. And so I got to the point where I just said no because I realized that do you call your doctor? Do you call your dentist? Do you call your attorney and say, "Hey, can you stay open till 6:30 and make an exception for me that works best in my schedule?" No, that's not how that works. So it's no different for me. I'm a licensed professional, so I should be treated with the same respect. So my times available are my times available. In fact, I've mentioned to you guys previously that time blocking was the thing for me. That I ended up blocking my time that I only met with clients on Tuesdays and Thursdays between 10 and 4, with not meeting during lunch. I rarely met with people during lunch, and then Wednesday afternoons were times from basically 1 till 4 is when I met with clients. I didn't meet with clients from 4 to 5 because that's my wrap up time before I leave the office. I didn't meet with clients from 9 to 10 because that's my get ready and get set and get everybody in the office situated. I didn't meet with them Mondays and Fridays because I like to use either that time as my technical time, and I'd like to be able to have the time to be able, if I wanted to take a 4-day weekend, I would do so. So, so be mindful of those types of things. Now, here are some things to make sure that people show up for appointments. Things people don't miss your appointments, because again, if they don't show up, that shows you something else on top of that. So set up, if you use an online software for appointment scheduling, set up reminders to go via email. If you can, set up also texting so that you will have people's numbers and it'll make it easier. So they'll not only get an email, but a text. And if you have staff, you should have staff calling them, reminding them 24 hours in advance about their appointment the next day. I found out that I hardly had any cancellations or no shows when people were called the day before. I always made it a point that my admin person was always going to call the people who had scheduled the next day, and I rarely had any of those no shows. Now, alternatively, you could look at also charging for your appointments. So they pay you $25, $50, $100, and you can either have that as a refundable fee that basically you get the information, you don't charge them until they don't show. Or you could charge them and then refund it back if they do show, or you can charge them and then apply that to some services that they can use in the future. So if they already are a client and you have them pay that so they show up, and then you keep that money and then you can apply it to, say, next year's tax return. So keep those things in mind and do what you can to make sure you protect your time, because at the end of the day, remember, time is the one thing that once spent, you can't earn it back, you can't win it back, you can't get it back in any way or form or fashion unless you have a time machine, and I haven't seen any proof that that has been invented. So, having said that, protect your time, because if you don't, nobody else is going to, and you need to respect yourself, and if you do, other people will respect you. So with that, we'll see you on the next show.